So many games, all on your phone.
BRB UK. Worse teeth, better accents.
It's episode 407 of the BigRedBarel UK podcast, also known as BRB UK. I'll be your captain and host today. I am Coleman. Hi! Dan is away at work, but always on the show, unless he's also at work. It's Tim.
Hello! I was laughing a bit more than normal on your intro there because for some reason, despite, having a good idea where you would go after 400 odd shows, for some reason I thought you were going into the bullseye thing.
Think I'm... One! And Bully's special prize! Yeah, when you think I'm going to zig, Tim, I'm going to zag. That's what you should know about me. I'm always unpredictable.
You are both zig and zag. Basically, you're two puppets.
Joining us from last week, we loved him on the show last week, filling in for Dan, so we thought we'd do it again. We got Ed.
It was so nice you had me on twice. How's it going?
Damn Skippy. I just realised I didn't play the theme. I didn't play the theme to get us into the mood, so I'll have to put that in posts. Whoops.
Oh,
well.
Oh, man, I had it all ready.
You know what you have to do, Chris? You have to blame it on the boogie.
Don't blame it on the sunshine.
Chaps and other forms of trouser coverings.
Yes.
We've got big news because not only...
Big news?
Yes, we got big news. We got the news that everyone's been waiting for.
That's good, that's on brand. Just
embedded somewhere in between 3 bloody shows about video games this week that we got to cover.
Yes.
We might be rushing a lot of stuff, but we're going to get to the news that you want right away. We're going to kick off with what everyone wants to know. Ubisoft Forward. Let's talk about Ubisoft Forward. Forward.
Best company out there.
Back our way into Ubisoft Forward.
Yes, we are not talking about... We're not going to cover the entirety of these shows because otherwise this will be a very long show indeed, and I've got to edit this thing before work. So... we'll go through what we've been doing lately. We'll take a couple of picks from each show and we'll talk about things that we're most excited for, but I think we're going to struggle with this one. Tim, do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, but before we do, can I kick off by saying that I was a bit disappointed that yet again Ubisoft didn't kick off one of these events by having a message that preceded it. Kind of understand the separation of that. Like, they did actually put a message out, but they didn't. They put it out separately before the event, and just want to comment on the fact that is once again. Like, they should not be doing that. They had ample opportunity to do the right approach for this, which I think would have satisfied all parties and had a degree of separation. They had a pre-show. They had all the preamble. All they had to do was put that note up to the pre-show, and then you have a degree of separation between that and the main show. I won't go too much else on that, but yeah, I don't think they just should get a free pass for doing that every time. They know what they're doing, and so do we. And okay, they're trying to separate it from mainstream audiences. At the same time, they need to understand that they are just off non-mainstream audiences to a greater degree, basically.
Just to clarify, Tim, are you talking about their long history of sexual abuse that they've been covering up for years that I know nothing about until now?
Didn't openly state that, and yes, even they didn't openly state that in the message that Yves Allemond gave beforehand, or whatever. They're almost there. You know what I mean? They just didn't put it together properly in a way that they could have done very easily, and it wouldn't have had a much worse effect. So I am holding them to account for that before we potentially get excited for any of their games as well. But that said, and that out the way, I think for things that I was most excited for from this, I'm going to go with Riders Republic as my first shout. That was a nice surprise. It was nice seeing a nice shiny new generation Steep. Yeah. Oh no, they've abandoned that name because it died. But yeah, I didn't mind the idea of Steep. I just never really picked it up or got into it. This seems to have actually added a few things that make it an even more attractive package to me. The fact that it's got downhill mountain biking, which seems to have grown in some favour recently with like some good indie games, like getting a bit of traction in that regard as well.
Traction, mountain biking.
Traction, yeah, see.
It's good. It works. Love it.
But generally, like I thought that was a nice surprise, something that I hadn't seen or knew anything about going in, and was something where I was like, oh, okay, cool, yeah, that might be one I'm interested in. Okay, yeah, count me in, possibly.
Good.
Maybe.
Did you have a pick for this one, Ed?
Yeah, I did. So first I was going to say, I think Tim's right. They probably should have made a statement. Like, I can understand, like, I've worked at several games companies. I know, like, a lot of the internal stuff, what goes on, like the legal stuff, like there's reasons why they probably didn't say anything or connect it to the actual broadcast itself. There's probably a lot of discussions. But ultimately, there's just like a very deep culture sometimes of men not really understanding what women want. And speaking of which, my pick of the show for Ubisoft Forward was Scott Pilgrim vs. the World.
He's nicked me pick. Yeah.
I really loved the Xbox 360 game. I never really understood, because it was a very weird thing circumstantially where it was out for like 5-6 months. They released a DLC. The DLC was out for a month and they went, right, game's off the market. It's gone forever. Activision did a similar thing recently where they re-released Deadpool on recent consoles.
Oh, really?
And then, like, for 4 months it was on sale, and then they went, right, no, it's impossible to buy this. You can never buy this ever again.
Well, that was. They also did that with Marvel Ultimate Alliance 1 and 2. I think Activision were losing a Marvel license somewhere along the lines, and they very quickly ported out, and literally ports, no improvements made to these games whatsoever, crimped them out for the next generation of consoles. Full price as well.
Yeah, cashed in, got out.
Yeah, I went in on the Marvel Ultimate Alliance 1 for PlayStation 4, so me and Kev could play together, and we did a video on YouTube and stuff, but that was expensive for no improvement whatsoever.
Yeah.
But this was a case of them not, like, the license was a very, very time deal with Universal and Ubisoft for what they could do. And they made a really cool game, like reminiscent to a lot of old arcade brawlers with old console brawlers, and a little bit of the Simpsons arcade game in there I found with the bonus stages and stuff. I thought that was really good, and I've been hoping for a re-release of some kind, and it just took them for the 10-year anniversary to get one.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I was also going to say, Activision also had a similar thing with the James Bond license a few years ago, where they released 007 Legends, and
awful. Then
that was on sale for about 4 months. It disappeared, and now, as far as I'm aware, no games company actually holds the James Bond license for
really
use
weird.
For video games.
Considering how good that should be for a gaming license. Also, there's
the film being delayed and everything. But what I mean is, guys, we could own the Bond license.
Cool.
For video games. We could launch the BigRedBarel studio, James Bond, back in the habit. Let's go.
Yeah.
Back in the habit.
Now we've
cruise control.
Now we've officially withdrawn our offer for Rocksteady. Should we make a formal offer to pick up the James Bond?
Sure, why not? We'll have a whip round.
Why not?
We'll go straight up to the Broccolis and we'll be like, look, Barbara Broccoli, all the Broccolis.
Give you some broccoli.
It's very important that we have the James Bond license for video games. And if they ask what it's for, we go, well, that's for us to know, you to find out. And then
James Bond, obviously.
When they say, no, legally we need to know what it is, we just say, fine, it's going to be Top Trumps. It's James Bond Top Trumps. That's all we've got the money for. Also, fun fact, with the Bond games, they always have to portray the most recent Bond as the de facto Bond, which is why 007 Legends was only Daniel Craig and not Roger Moore or anyone else who was good. Anyway, sorry, Chris, you were going to say something.
That's all right. I mean, they did make other Bond characters, other iterations of Bond for the multiplayer in GoldenEye, but that was kind of poo-pooed at the last minute from the studio. And they're still on the cartridge. If you have a what they called Action Replay or a Game Shark, one of those kind of things, then you can access the multiplayer characters.
Is this GoldenEye the original or GoldenEye Reloaded? 64. Sorry, it's when you said GoldenEye, for some reason I thought you meant the new one, the reloaded one that was released that no one gave a shit about.
Yeah, I forget that one existed, to be fair. I we got another look of Watch Dogs Legion, and I am still very excited for that game. But there's some guy, and I'm not familiar with him. I was hoping one of you two could maybe inform me. Some singer, I think, called Stormzy.
Stormzy. Yeah, when they were announcing him, I was like, really? Have they got him? That I wouldn't have thought. Like, they sound like they're describing Stormzy, but they can't have got him, really, surely. And I was like, maybe they made Professor Green. That kind of like fulfills some of the things they're saying. Maybe I'm not sure if he was on the cover of was it Rolling Stone or Life magazine they mentioned. Anyway, but then when it was actually Stormzy, I was like, oh, that's actually a really good get. Like, I know you probably don't care, and he's someone that I like some of his music, but I'm not like a massive fan. There's one tune he does I think is phenomenal. Basically,
is it Boastin'?
No, it's a tune called Crown.
I like that one song.
I mean, my favourite band is Bare Naked Ladies. I know nothing about current.
But yeah, but
very
still,
similar.
I think that's, it's kind of a big name. He is a big British star. And yeah, I thought his song was kind of fun and like not the worst song I've heard this week related to video games. That's for sure. As I said, I think that's a good get. I think it's a name that will have some pull to it. I'm quite excited for the game, but as we kind of, had to mention on the way into the show, I'm finding it hard to get excited for Ubisoft properties at the moment. I feel guilty for doing so almost.
Yeah.
If this Watch Dogs wasn't based in London, I think I'd be giving it a miss just on basic principle. With the fact that it is London, I think it's a bit too much of a pull for me to ignore. So, yeah, probably.
Yeah.
But I'm tepidly excited for it. But I don't know about you guys. It's one of those ones where I'm like, I'll probably just pick this up on PS5 rather than... Like, I know they're saying it goes across generation, I think, this one, no?
Yeah. I'll pick it up when Jason Statham is in the game available. As a...
Well, talking about
that... He just shows up with his phone on the Stath. That's it for me. Day one.
But they did announce that someone's coming back for this. Protagonist from previous games that no one cared about. That's why
Adam
I
Jensen.
thought they abandoned him. Aiden Pearce is coming back.
Aiden Pearce. He's got his baseball cap. He's got his windbreaker on. He's ready to go.
His iconic cap.
Iconic baseball cap. Thank you very much. But yeah, like... Again, it's just like, come on, in all the environment where you're trying to curry favour with people, a protagonist that wasn't very popular in his last game, and you're putting it behind a paywall? Really? That's the way you wanted to go with it? Really? And that's something you wanted to publicly announce on this stream? Really?
My favourite thing about Aiden Pearce is just the way he kills his nemesis in Watch Dogs is like the lamest... Like nemesis.
Spoiler! I'm going to start it eventually.
Okay. Like, just all I will say is when you get to it, you will laugh and you will not stop laughing until the game is finished. And then days later, you will be in the shower and you will laugh. It will be like your version of Mr. Burns is, why was I laughing? Oh yes, that crippled Irishman.
Yeah, I think I played probably about 5 hours of that first game, and I'm sure a good 4.5 hours of it were chess mini games rather than the actual game.
So you didn't leapfrog over the grave or anything?
No, I just kept doing the chess mini games, and then I kind of fell out of the game very quickly.
Okay.
Well, at least you could rewind and go back to it, like say with the new Prince of Persia remake.
Oh God,
there you going with that? Yeah.
Is anyone excited with this?
I would only have been excited if they did like the whole trilogy remastered in one shot, and then that would have made me leap on.
I'd be more excited if they had done, and I don't mean to be too cruel to the people working on it, but if they'd done a halfway decent job of actually remaking it and not made it look like you'd literally got the work experience kids on the graphic engine, then maybe I'd be a bit more excited. Like, this looked like a 5-year-old game, like a 5-year-old remake, as in a remake from 5 years ago. Like
not a remake made by a 5-year-old.
No, I'm not being quite that cruel. That's why I was specifying the difference between the two.
Well, that was it. And I will stress, we don't know how to make video games. It looks quite difficult, but at the same time, I saw the screenshot and I thought, oh, it's like an up-res port. I'm not really interested in that.
Yeah.
Then I looked at the trailer.
We made it.
Oh, it is.
Where?
It's literally a remake that looks like it was made for mobile, handheld, something that isn't a next generation console.
Yeah, when I say 5 years ago, that's probably more accurate, Coleman. It doesn't even look like it was a remake for this generation of consoles, basically. If you said this was coming on the Switch, I'd still be like, we could have done a bit more with the graphics. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't understand this. I don't get it.
I know the second one isn't Sands of Time, but it is basically Sands of Time. That'll make it the third Sands of Time game we got, because the one with Jake Gyllenhaal to tie in with the film, that is basically the Sands of Time remake already. And this one doesn't have Jake Gyllenhaal in it, so it's missing everything.
It's down points all over. But yeah, I don't know about you as well. There was a couple of other things I was generally down on throughout some of their other announcements. I was down on the majority of their announcements. Yeah, coming back to the VR portion, which we'll do slightly separately, mainly because they did as well, or the most exciting bits of the VR sort of stuff. But yeah, like there was a whole massive thing on Rainbow Six Siege, and I know that's really big for them and everything, but you know, I kind of moved on from that game shortly after launch sort of idea. And the fact they're bringing Sam Fisher back to it does not make me want to play the game more, and does just go, oh, right, yeah, Sam Fisher, yeah. Why don't you put him in a bloody Splinter Cell game? They are, Tim, and we'll get. Let's just jump into it now. So there was one VR game that they were doing this announcement.
There's one VR game that they showed on the actual stream, and that was Far Cry VR Dive into Insanity, which looks like either a tie-in or a recreation of 3 in some format. But it doesn't look like
a dream.
Yeah, did they explain what version of VR this is? Because this looks like the Star Wars thing that I went and paid, what was it, like 60 quid to go and play a game for 20 minutes, and then that was it. Yeah. This looks exactly like one of those things.
As I said, I'm excited the fact that Ubisoft seemed to be leaning more heavily into VR. Like it was at a time, it seemed like something they backed away from. So it's good that they are doubling down and kind of, bringing out some of their bigger properties and bringing that to VR. Like that is good to see, and that was something that excited me just in the fact that they're doing it. But yeah, we didn't get many details about the Far Cry VR, and we got even less about the other stuff that came out in the Facebook Connect through Oculus.
Yeah, Facebook Connect did Facebook Connect had their own little stream thing going on, and they announced 2 Ubisoft games coming to VR, and that's Assassin's Creed and Splinter Cell.
Both could work very well in VR.
Yeah, all they got to do with Splinter Cell was release the Sam Fisher tri-lights as the VR goggles, and that's Tim gone. Yeah,
it just needs to make the noise when you bring him down.
Oh, that's definitely.
Yeah. And then we're good. But yeah, I mean, as I said, that's cool, and maybe, I don't know if we've got time this week to even talk about Quest 2, but that looks cool, and if that wasn't being announced in the middle of me having to plan multiple console purchases and a possible TV upgrade, I'd be really interested in buying one of those, but I don't think I'm even going to look at that until next year, basically. But the Quest 2 looks really good, and for a similar or even better price than the original Quest, yeah, that's a good thing. But yeah, come back to that another time. More Ubisoft Forward things, though I continue to be a bit disappointed in one of the things that I was really looking forward to. I thought we were going to hear more about Gods and Monsters, and we did. Except it's not called Gods and Monsters anymore, and I also don't like the look of what they're doing as much as what they previously announced. Like, this is... they've obviously got further into the development of the game and found out what it is, and also gone, Breath of the Wild was good and popular. Maybe we should make a game like that. And I'm like, yeah, except for I didn't play that. I don't really care, and I preferred the look of the game that you looked like you were making before you decided to do that. But okay. I don't know. I think the name that they've come up with in replacement does not give me a lot of hope that the game that they've come up in replacement is as good because the name is terrible. Like Gods and Monsters was a quite easy name to understand, and you kind of got an idea of what it was. Immortals Phoenix Rising sounds like it just fell out of the most generic word naming device in history, basically. Like, it's just...
Immortals Phoenix Rising sounds like it should be a mobile game with lots of microtransactions that is an advert is played for at the start of any remotely related video gaming show on YouTube, and that you can't skip the ads, and that and everyone's sponsored by them, and it sounds like one of those.
Or it's a film.
Yeah, I was about to say it sounds like a Raid Shadow Legends.
Yeah, or it's a film called Immortals, and this is the tie-on game that goes with it. That, exactly like you said, full of microtransactions and everything else.
Yeah.
And
isn't Immortals a Marvel franchise?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
they're working on it.
Like, it's a name that's been used in a few other places. I don't think Immortals conveys as much. I don't think the three words here convey as much as the three words did previously. And one of those previous three words was "and." You know what I mean? Like, and I just, I don't know. The name is terrible. I can forgive them for that. I'm not sure the game is what I was like. All I was really hoping for was a stripped down Assassin's Creed in a kind of ancient mythological Greek setting, and I quite like the sound of that. And they're not making that anymore. I don't think. I don't know if they just decided differently or this was always where they were headed, but it seemed like they had a bit of a, oh no, actually, let's do this instead kind of idea. And I'm not throwing it away completely, but I'm not as enamored with the idea of it and excited about it as I was with Gods and Monsters.
I just found the stream, and I mean, I say stream, but it's obviously pre-recorded, but I just found the whole thing a bit meh.
Yeah.
Like, it's the same problem I had with the first one. It seems like for these Ubisoft Forwards, they've taken one or two, big things away from like a lineup and then bolstered it out of as many add-ons and crap that they can throw in there.
Yeah, and there's lots of DLC for present games, and this isn't the venue for doing that type of thing. It feels like, and like you say, like it feels to me like this has stopped platform things from being as exciting as they could have been. They could have just announced all the big announcements from this stuff on Xbox or PlayStation, and done deals with them, and it would have been. Like, I think it would have been better for everyone involved. Like, it would have saved our time. It would have made the other ones more exciting. And Ubisoft wouldn't have had to do all this. And we wouldn't have been criticising them for not making mentions on their own streams. Whereas they wouldn't have had to do that on other people's streams as much. So, yeah, it just seems like they're shooting themselves in the foot for no reason. Like, Ubisoft, 1 step forward, 2 steps back kind of idea. But, yeah.
Right, let's talk about
Nintendo
Direct Mini Partner Showcase. So there was 2 Nintendo Direct Minis. One was a partner showcase, and the other was a Monster Hunter Direct, I guess they called it. We'll just focus on the Nintendo Direct Mini Partner Showcase because we're strapped for time. A couple of things out of this. I'll go first if that's all right. Hades is out now on Switch. I'll be picking that up after the show.
Yeah, that
Balan
looked
Wonderland.
good. Okay.
Balan Wonderworld, I'm really excited about. Yuji Naka is making this game, formerly of Sonic Glory, and it looks absolutely adorable. The 2 Monster Hunter games, there's Rise, which looks like a more hardcore Monster Hunter game than the version that came out on the PlayStation, and then Monster Hunter Stories 2, Wings of Ruin, which is a more kid-friendly focused game, which they've done that before with the Palicos and stuff. Interesting improvements on the 2.
Was that the one when they were riding a mount thing? I saw a bit of the video for that, I think.
That was the first one. There's a new version of the Palico. There's like a dog version of the Palico now, a Palicane or something, which is more attack focused than support focused, and you can ride them, and they don't take from your stamina when you ride them and stuff. Ed, did you check out the Direct?
Monster Hunter is just a series that I never super got on with. I understand the appeal, it's just not for me. And also Ori and the Will of the Wisps, I just downloaded on PC Game Pass, so I'll play it on that.
It is interesting that is on a Nintendo console at all, no? When it's a kind of Microsoft-owned property? Or
Owned property. Well, they've got a Minecraft.
Yeah.
And
Came
Cuphead.
out after the acquisition.
Just saying that is interesting. Although,
Cuphead as well.
Although I didn't see it as well, I am interested, and I don't know if that's the first. I think we got a release date beforehand. I don't know if that was the first time, or I just thought it was coming out at that time. But I'm very interested in Empire of Sin. I have to say that looks interesting.
Okay.
That sort
Good.
of turn-based gangster stuff. Yeah.
And Fitness Boxing 2, Rhythm and Exercise.
Yes.
Well, Fitness Boxing 1 sold surprisingly a lot, as far as I'm aware. So,
Well,
Yeah, I
everyone
downloaded
needed
the
something
demo.
else,
It was
so they
fun.
got their Wii Fit on. Hey, not Wii Fit.
Yeah.
What was it called? Ring Fit.
Ring Fit
Ring
Adventure. A game I do need to go back to as soon as my back heals.
We'll get to the main one. We got to talk about this now. PlayStation 5 showcase. So they announced this at the start of the week on Monday, I think, or Sunday or Monday. We watched this one last night, Wednesday night. We finally have a price for the PlayStation 5 and the PlayStation 5 Digital Edition. This will be £449 for the regular PlayStation 5 and £359 for the digital edition of the console. These will both be releasing, in US territories and similar on the 12th of November. We have to wait for it on the 19th of November,
How
however.
many times did you read through the list of countries before you went, what? Hang on. What? There's no UK. That's
That's not us. Yeah.
Brexit, that's the reason.
I wasn't too bothered. Like, I can wait a few days to look at an interface, I guess.
But to be fair, that's going to be 7 days of being, taunted by Twitter and various people.
I work
having
a
fun
lot.
with their
It's fine.
consoles.
I can wait 7 days to buy Spider-Man Miles Morales on PlayStation 4 instead.
Exactly. Right. What are we thinking about the price? So I think the PlayStation 5, that's slightly more than the Xbox Series X.
I thought that was
It's the
Whereas-
same price as the Xbox Series X.
Yeah, 449.
I think-
both 449.
Oh, was it? I thought it was.
Yeah.
I
449.
thought it was 42. I thought it's 429 for the Series X.
Not as far as I've seen reported, and not in fact, not as I've seen on the official Xbox thing where they had all the prices in different things in the pound category. They had it at 449 for the Xbox Series X, which I'm just.
The
about
bigger
getting.
thing is the digital edition is more expensive than the S, which is their digital
Yes.
edition, but this will have the native 4K rather than the upscaling and have a larger SSD included as well.
Have you seen that confirmed?
I mean, in the nicest way, it's not really a comparison, is it? Like, the Xbox Series S is like a lower spec across the board,
Yeah.
where the digital PlayStation 5 is the same spec as the PlayStation 5 with a blue disc drive or Blu-ray disc drive.
With a
it's
UHD
just, you know,
disc drive.
so technically, sorry, that's what I meant. But like the Xbox Series X will be equivalent in price, but the S isn't really a comparison. That's like comparing a Switch Lite.
Yeah, but I think that's okay as well. Like, I actually think all the prices kind of make sense, and all of them are decent. Like, I don't think. Look, they could have been better. I would have been happier with them better. I'm not saying they won't, but I was reasonably pleasantly surprised with those prices. I thought they were okay. Yeah, I mean, you don't know how much of it was PlayStation going, all right, let's just equal whatever the price that Xbox went with, so that there's no possibility of comparing them on price or anything. So that's all equal. So it's just a case of which one you want more, basically. And it does seem like the Xbox Series X is the more powerful machine between that and the base PlayStation 5. But
More teraflops.
But yeah, the one thing you said about the difference in SSD, that's the one thing I haven't seen confirmed. I saw spec sheets that had everything confirmed about all the consoles, except the SSD hard drive not being confirmed for the digital version. I don't know if that's
right.
different now that
I thought it was
it's been actually been on
I thought
sale.
it was meant to be this. Right. I thought it was meant to be the same as the PlayStation 5, but we'll see when it comes. Well, when
I think
those are officially released, I guess.
Yeah, I think the list that I saw was assuming was assuming that was possibly the case, but because they hadn't actually specified that, they were just saying to be confirmed on whether it is the same price. If it is the same size, then that's like you say, it's not really a fair comparison. But I thought, I don't know. There's going to be. Don't you think there's more than one difference for just the disc drive? £90 difference? I don't know.
Well, I guess it's one of those things where with digital, they know that they'll make the money back. Where with the disc drive, there'll be like pre-owned games and stuff like that. So I guess they're sort of banking on, in the long term, if you're buying the disc drive, it's probably because you want to participate in the pre-owned market. Where if you buy digital, they've got you. They've got you by the short and danglies because you can't trade in digital copies and they get a bigger margin on the store.
Yeah, no, I understand that, but for me, I actually care more. The disc drive for me was more about movies than it was games almost these days. Like I buy most of my games digitally, whereas I still like to have access to a disc drive for playing DVDs, Blu-rays, and Ultra HD Blu-rays, which they need to come up with a better name for because it's too much of a mouthful.
I mean, plus it sounds a lot like was it UHD or UMD on the PS?
UMD, yeah.
UMD, yeah.
UMD. So no mini disc.
I know you out of the three of us have actually pre-ordered your PlayStation already, haven't you, Tim?
Well, if you want one, then I hope you have already.
Yeah.
There'll be some in stock in time. There's no way that they'll run out of stock.
Did you go for digital, or did you go for the physical tax version?
I literally, as I was sitting down at the store and going through the options, I wasn't sure. I could have gone either way. Really, fairly happily. I think partly because I think I'll probably end up with either a digital one in my room or with the one that I'm buying now eventually in my room and then upgrading to a pro version at some point or something. But yeah.
Timmy, 2 PlayStations.
No, I'm just planning for the future and expansions. That won't necessarily be next year or the year after, but just planning down the line type of idea. But yeah, in the end, I was literally about to go to bed and then because I thought, well, doesn't look like any pre-orders are necessarily going to go live at midnight. No one's really said anything, so I guess they'll all be going up tomorrow. So I'll go to bed and get up fairly early, and then just as I was kind of making that decision, I saw someone that do you guys know Joe Dale? He used to do stuff with the Game Jar, I think it was where I originally met him. But yeah, he now
yes, I'm pretty aware of that man.
Yes, and. My favourite commander on the Citadel. But anyway, he used to cosplay as Shepard. But anyway,
I got it.
Yep, cool. But just realised our audience members wouldn't necessarily. But anyway, but then he now works for Gaming. Just happened to tweet something out last night about it's now live on the store, pre-orders. Blah. I was like, okay, shit. Kind of ran to my computer and okay, let's get the game and go order from there. I still wasn't entirely sure who I was going to order from, but I kind of have a preference for, where possible, not giving my money to Amazon generally, and at the moment more so.
Yeah.
Jeff Bezos has 80% of the world's money. I don't think we need to give him more. But yeah,
all right, his ex-wife's got half of it.
Yeah, just keep on dividing that again and again. Anyway, but yeah.
Yeah, they broke up when he realised that marriage was a union.
I hadn't heard that joke. That is good. But yeah, where was I? Yeah. So anyway, a game and was prodding through, and the first thing I actually went for was actually the digital edition with all the gubbins. I was like, right, give me everything, give me that. That was sold out. By the time I got there, and then so were a couple of other packages I clicked on, and then I clicked on the one that I eventually got, which was the non-digital version with the camera. Because the camera is one of the things I actually want almost first and foremost, because I'm hoping to be able to move I don't know how many games are going to be moving across with my VR headset, but they have been saying that the VR headset's compatible. So I want to make sure that that's compatible from day one. So
yeah, and the compatibility patch, which comes out 2022. Yeah, it's good to have your camera ready for that.
Well, look, I just want to have that ready, so I'm ready to go as and when. So as soon as I can take advantage of that, I can. And I don't know if you remember, like in I actually bought a camera with my PlayStation 4, I think, as well.
Me too.
But then cameras was one of the things that sold out for everywhere for ages after launch as well. So that was one of the other reasons that I'm like, okay, I'm going to get one now. I ordered that at the time. I then tried to order a pad and that failed. So I was like, so I'm going to bed. But then, yeah, I have subsequently today from... Where did I get it from in the end? Smith's, yes, indeed. I picked up a pad.
He loves Smiths.
I picked up a pad and a media remote, which I don't...
So you didn't get all the Dan Gibbons with it?
No, didn't get all the gubbins. But yeah, like I kind of would have liked one of the headset things, which I might pick up eventually. But considering that's another £90,
considering the amount of iterations they made for the PlayStation 4, and they're still crap.
Yes,
I'd probably wait till they've come out and you've seen some tech review specs first.
That was my other thinking on that as well. The one thing I really want to pick up sooner rather than later that I'd like, but was generally sold out everywhere, was the charging stand thing, because that looks decent and a good idea, and keeps the pads like neat and out of the way and charged, which is all good. So yeah, like that's the only other thing I'll do. I don't know if you guys are planning on buying one, but if you are, like, you may already be too late kind of idea. Like,
no, I looked at the madness and I refused to take part of this. I'm not jumping in for, I'm going to buy a controller from over here and a console from over there, and I want to get this version, but they're sold out, so I'll get this. Like, I'm going to wait. I'm going to get the digital edition of well, I've got to get 2 digital editions because my girlfriend wants one. We'll have one each and that will be fine. But I'm not taking part in this madness.
Well, someone on Twitter said, another blogger sort of asked, I'm not kind of sold on next generation consoles. What pushed you over the edge? And I was like, podcast coverage. Like, kind of wanted to make sure that one of us on the podcast definitely had a console. I probably would have done it, all things considered anyway, because I'm that kind of stupid. But yeah, like, it's not the best time for me financially right at this second, but by the time I'm actually paying for the console, I should be in a much better financial position. So that will be good, hopefully.
Because of the tax fraud.
Because of all the tax fraud. Yes, exactly.
Wow.
No, like, I just got a load of money for switching my bank account, because my business bank switch got bribed a load of money to go and switch, so I'm doing that.
Because of the tax fraud, I see.
I've got some other money coming back, some other money I lent to a friend that should be coming in for that point, sort of thing. So, yeah, even though I'm poor now, at the time when they're actually taking the money, which, yeah, I'm not sure. Did Amazon take the money straight away, or did I just imagine?
No, they wait until it's about to launch, usually. They usually charge you at the point of delivery.
Yeah, because Game said they were doing the same thing as well. Also, Game guaranteed they got DPD, who's a courier, touchwood, that I trust somewhat, and they're doing pre-12 p.m. Deliveries guaranteed on launch day. So I was like, okay, yeah, all right.
I mean, if it was Yodel, you'd never see the bloody console in the first place.
Exactly. It's like, it's on the roof of your neighbour's house in the wrong street. Like,
well, I know there's a street not too far from you that has a very similar name, because I say that yours, we used to pick up their post all the time. That's where your PlayStation would be.
Yeah. If I was lucky.
Tim's pre-ordered one. There you go. That's the big news for Tim. The other big bit of news is PlayStation Plus. They're launching the PlayStation Plus collection, which is essentially Game Pass, but included in the price of your PlayStation Plus, which
Is it though?
isn't
They
as I
didn't
thought.
really
Well,
discuss what it was or what it is, or
Well, they have PlayStation View.
yes,
And I was hoping they would
PlayStation
tie
Now?
that into play. Is it View or Play Now? I always
do
mix those
something
up.
different.
PlayStation
I'm not sure
Now.
it's still alive. PlayStation
Right.
Now is their streaming thing that was
PlayStation Now. It's not streaming anymore. You can download games now. Much
Yes.
like
Oh,
the
finally.
optional streaming. It's been like that for a year, Ed. So
I don't pay attention to these things, Chris.
Yeah,
That's
to be
fine.
fair, no one pays attention to PlayStation Now.
I mean, I genuinely thought that thing had died. Like,
Yes.
no, it's still going. I accidentally bought what I thought was a year of PlayStation Plus on an offer, and then realised it was PlayStation Now, and promptly got them to refund it to me.
It was that.
Oh,
is
so
that
you're
because
the
it
one
said the words
person.
PlayStation
Yeah.
Now, yeah.
I just saw I was tired. I was editing the show. It popped up, and I went.
I was
"Oh,
drunk.
that's
It
a
didn't
brilliant-
mean anything.
That's a brilliant deal. And then I ended up having to contact their customer service, go, "Hi, I have no intention of using this. Please, may I have a refund?" They were like, "Yes, and you've also got your 14-day free trial that you've accidentally set off by doing this." I'm like, oh.
Oh,
Anyway, I was hoping they'd tie that in. Instead, they've gone, okay, here's a new tier to the PlayStation Plus. It's PlayStation Plus collection. This is going to be a collection of PlayStation 4's biggest games available for you to play, with this no extra cost on top of the PlayStation Plus subscription. Those titles will be God of War, Bloodborne, Monster Hunter World, Final Fantasy 15, Fallout 4, Mortal Kombat X, I always forget it's not 10, Uncharted 4: A Thief's End, Ratchet & Clank, Days Gone, Until Dawn, Detroit Become Human, Battlefield 1, Infamous Second Son, Batman Arkham Knight, The Last Guardian, Last of Us, Last of Us Remastered, Persona 5, and Resident Evil 7 Biohazard.
I mean, there's a good
think
list of
all but
games.
three. It's
You'll
a
finally
great
get to play
list of games.
Persona 5.
It's a great list of games. I think 3 of them I don't own, and I have no intention of playing. So
see, I'm happy to get access to a copy of Mortal Kombat X. I haven't played.
I've got to go.
I know, and you've also played Days Gone before, which I haven't. So I'm like, okay,
Oh, I
that's
love
cool.
Days Gone.
And yeah, like there's games there that I'll happily play through with my flatmate, and he hasn't played a lot of them as well. So yeah.
But
And
all
Chris,
these
now
are
you
going
have
to
no
be-
excuse not to play Persona 5.
Yeah.
Good
yeah.
point. All these will be available from launch on your PlayStation Plus bit of the dashboard, I'm assuming so. But they will be available on launch, apparently.
But we're assuming that is just the PlayStation 4 versions. There's no enhancements for PS5 that we know of or anything, no?
Yeah,
No
that's
idea.
the question I had.
Yeah. See, like they really didn't give many details about that collection stuff. Like you literally said more details than they said in their stream.
Yeah.
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 Well,
Yeah.
I might as well add some then. They're going to be available in 8K. They're going to be 120 frames per second.
You'll get automatic platinums just for playing them.
Yes.
Yep.
Any DLC will now be free on those games.
Ever.
Free yourself from the tyranny of trophies.
And they will bake you a cake. Good. Right.
What flavour cake?
Strawberry. Why not?
Can I have mine vegan?
No,
Vegan strawberry, yes.
no,
Yay!
Strawberry cake.
no vegan strawberries for you.
Oh, but I've been good.
We will substitute your strawberries with
Meat,
Soy.
soy chicken mock-up.
tofu.
Soy chicken cake, my favourite.
Have
Delicious.
tofu strawberries, and you're gonna like it.
Are strawberries not vegan? Am I missing something?
No, strawberries
Yes,
are vegan.
you
but
are not vegan,
Usually the
Coleman.
composition of cake isn't because it's like eggs and butter and in it.
Well, all right, fine.
A vegan
Mate, I can make you a
strawberry
vegan cake.
is not possible.
Could you?
Strawberries eat too much
It
meat.
was my birthday last month.
Right.
Speaking
games.
of which, where was Bug Snacks in this whole thing? Speaking of strawberries
We
eating
got a-
things.
We
No
got a
Bug
Bug Snacks thing not that long ago, so it's fine. They got one separate to this, where we
Well-
got gameplay and stuff for Bug Snacks.
I did think there was a lot missing from this whole show thing. Should have been an hour long and included more games. Yeah, see? We should have talked about Bug Snacks and other things.
Right. Ed, you've not got to talk about too much on this show, so I think you should pick the game that you are really excited about on the PlayStation 5.
Oh,
Don't pick Harry Potter's Hogwarts Legacy. Don't do it. I
feel very bad for everyone working on that game because I think there's a report coming out recently that said most of them are just absolutely terrified because of all of J.K. Rowling's recent horrendous transphobia.
Yeah. Doubling down on the transphobia.
I just don't understand. Like, if I had £1 billion, I'd just off forever. I don't know why she sits there in her castle and just like... She's sitting in her castle with her servants going, I have to tell people about the nasty transes. Like, off J.K. Rowling, you
Yes.
Sorry, you're going to have to censor all of that. I'm sorry for giving you more work, Coleman. But sorry.
The whole sentence.
I was really excited for Spider-Man Miles Morales until I found out it was on PlayStation 4. I'll be very honest. I think of all of the stuff they showed, it was only really Resident Evil 8 and Demon Souls that looked like they'd actually been built for the ground up for PlayStation 5. And everything else kind of felt like they'd already made it for PlayStation 4 and had just up-resed it slightly.
I don't know.
A lot of the games, I couldn't really see a discernible difference.
I cannot see how... And I don't know. There was the original party scene in the Spider-Man film, Spider-Man game, like the main game before this one. I don't know how to describe that. But anyway, last Spider-Man game, main game, like there was a really good party scene in that. But I thought the scene where you were walking through that kind of little fairground area, I thought that kind of blew away a lot of what I'd seen in the previous game. I'm sure it would be on the PS4, but I don't think it will look anything like as impressive as it did from the footage they captured from the PS5. No, like I actually thought that was something where I was like, oh yeah, Spider-Man looking properly shiny in next gen. That looks good. No, was that just me?
Yeah. I'm still excited for this game, but it's going to be more of a case of I'm excited about playing the game and getting the story more than the technical improvements, though that will be nice to see the technical improvements. They did announce, as well as this coming out holiday 2020, they still haven't said launch game yet. They've said holiday 2020.
They have, right, they said holiday 2020 on the stream. Again, my issues with well, why the bloody hell didn't you just say this at the bloody top of the show and then you could have released... Anyway, but yeah, like they have since that thing announced that I think Demon Souls and Spider-Man are both launch titles.
Okay.
That has been confirmed. Why do it after a stream when you've just been talking to the whole world, you idiots? Anyway.
Because they wanted to do the mic drop moment of the price and the release date at the end when they could have led with that, but they knew that nobody was going to watch the whole thing.
Well, what they could have done is opened with the launch date, gone through all the trailers, then put up the price.
As
they probably could have
information.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like when you see Radiohead live, you leave after they play Creep. That's where they wait until like the last song to play it. Like,
that's the encore. Everyone knows that.
I think Ubisoft are the ones playing Creep, but anyway.
But sort of outside of the stream, that's when they went, oh, by the way, it's also coming to PlayStation 4, which we didn't tell you about before. And if you buy it on it will be the same price on the PlayStation 4 as the PlayStation 5. And if you buy it on the PlayStation 4, you get a PlayStation 5 upgrade for free. And they're also bringing out an Ultimate Edition of the first Spider-Man game on PlayStation 5 that includes all the DLC and improvements and stuff to the game. They haven't said whether if you own Spider-Man on the PS4, there'll be an upgrade there. I doubt it. I think they might be doing a control thing here, but we'll see.
We shall see. Have you seen the prices of PS5 games, gentlemen?
I believe it's £70 is the RRP.
Oh, Jesus.
But this one is going to be a £45 game, I think, for Spider-Man Miles Morales.
It's an expansion, right? It's like a standalone expansion rather than a full-time game.
It's currently up on Amazon, and we're only going by Amazon on this one, but I think it was a similar state on Game when I checked it. It's currently at the £51.99p price point. That is the same price point as most games that are cross-generational at the moment. So Assassin's Creed Valhalla seems to be at that price point. Although the Gold Edition on PS5 is currently £85 on PlayStation 5. Compared to £79.99 on PlayStation 4.
I will see how much it is digitally.
Yeah.
And like Watch Dogs Legion is $51.99, but Far Cry 6 Amazon Limited Edition is listed as $59.99. So
Just have to say when we're getting
we'll see
close.
when we're getting there anyway. But there is a lot of games listed at the £60 price point. That are new games for this generation. Riders Republic is at £60, and Immortals. Oh my god, how bad is this title? Rising is 85 for the gold, and 60.
Oh, they changed the name again.
Yeah.
that was a better name than I had before.
We'll report
They
on
heard
what the
Tim's
new name is
feedback
next
next
week.
show.
Yeah.
Was there a game you were excited about in particular, Tim?
I mean, I think Spider-Man we've already kind of mentioned. I got more excited than I thought I would for Demon's Souls because that game looks really nice. But
It looks beautiful.
But I'll leave that to one of you two. That's probably the game that, as I said, I've had the most affinity with in the Soul series. So one I could actually see me picking up and having fun with, especially if it's a launch time and there's not much else around at launch. But I have to say, I liked the look of it before, but this trailer particularly impressed me, and that is Deathloop. I did like the look of that. Like that.
Yeah, I did like the look of that. I could tell it was an Arcane game from the moment I looked at it. Because they have a very unique and beautiful style, and the gameplay looks really interesting. I didn't love Dishonored that much.
No, I wasn't.
I remember getting by Bethesda PR back in the day for how I reviewed that one. Yeah, Deathloop looks really good. It looks like something I'd be really interested in. It's like, I don't want to say like Groundhog Day-ish, but like they've sort of taken that idea of like looping over and over again.
Yeah.
I think my fear with it is naturally with a game where you're going to be looping over and over again, I feel like it's going to be a bit like Zelda Phantom Hourglass back in the day, where you have to keep going back to the same dungeon over and over again, and some people didn't like that. I liked that for the time, but now I'm a bit older. I feel like if I have to go through like certain levels over and over again and have to memorize where everyone else is all the time, I'm going to get bored very quickly and play something else.
I think there'll be a certain element of that, and you can see that in kind of, like roguelike type games, but if that's done well, it can be good and effective, and it kind of more akin to kind of... And someone was actually talking about this game the other day because it was the first game they worked on and they mentioned it on Twitter, but it reminded me in a good way of The Club. Like kind of... when you're going round in laps in that, it was a kind of a racing game where you're trying to get the highest score. In Deathloop, you're knowing where the enemies are and going round and knowing how to take them down and all that type of stuff. But it did seem like they'd structured that in kind of 8 parts, 8 acts almost kind of thing, where they particularly talked about, and I can't remember the guy's name, but there was one particular scientist dude and you could affect where he was later in the day by affecting him earlier in the day. And what I'm guessing is once you've got that bit of the loop solved, that's kind of put to one side, and then you can move on to the next, boss, as it were, or the next character that you're trying to get to that end party. What I wasn't clear on the structure of the game is where that end party comes into play, whether you play through that multiple times and then, do you get one person there and then play through the end so that you can then do that, or can you go to the end anytime? I don't know. The other thing I really don't know is where the other assassin comes into play, kind of thing. I'm not sure if she was the other player. Is that I don't get if that's another human controlled player or not at the moment. And that
I think that was the thing they kind of led with in the first initial trailers. That is a human led player or a CPU if you don't have a multiplayer person selected.
And how
I've got a feeling like you're going to get to the end of that story and then the two assassins have to work together to get out of the loop.
Yeah, almost
Something
definitely.
Like but right. I find that interesting. At the same time, how
and the real loop will be the friends they made along the way.
Damn it, Coleman.
I'll be interested to see exactly how that pans out, and I'm not sure whether I'm more or less interested in it being a human or a computer controlled player. I don't know. the end of Splinter Cell, where you're two people that are generally working together throughout that game, and it throws you a bit of a curveball at the end. Like, I really liked the way that worked, and like you say, this might be the opposite way round, and that could work quite nicely as well. But yeah, like I'm very intrigued, and the trailer that they showed me made me more interested than I previously was in the game, and I was reasonably it was on my radar anyway, basically. So yeah, that was a good thing.
I know I'm going to get a lot of flack for this probably, but this Harry Potter game.
Oh God!
Boo! Get off the fucking. I'm replacing you on this podcast now.
No, I'm not saying. I'm picking it up. No, I'm just saying because it was before all this started. I've only recently watched all the Harry Potter films because my girlfriend went, "Hey, those Harry Potter films. We should probably check those out." And we sat. Yeah, we sat and watched it before like the proverbial hit the fan, and yeah, they're all right. The game though, it looks really good. If all this wasn't happening,
it's a really good idea.
I'd be more.
Yeah. The only effective leftist praxis is buying it pre-owned or pirating it, but don't pirate games because that's evil and wrong. So the only effective praxis is to buy it pre-owned.
But yeah, but I don't know. Like, I have to say, it does look like a really good idea, like 1800s era Hogwarts, and kind of like laying the foundations of stories in the future, but also gives them a bit of freedom to do whatever the hell you want with the characters now. The only thing I'll say is, like, it just looked like Hogwarts. It didn't look like old Hogwarts, because Hogwarts looks old anyway. like that. Yeah. That was a bit weird. It was like, this is 100 years ago because they have a carriage rather than a train, and you're like, okay, I guess, like. Or carriage rather than a car, I guess.
I just really, really hope that the devs allow you to play as a trans or a non-binary character in the character selection.
Yes,
that's all they need to do, and they'll immediately just get like loads of people back on side. Yep. And also, it will have the really good side effect of boiling Joanne's Pierce. So,
Well done.
Yes. Good.
Also, I like that there's the Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition, which adds Virgil to the game and ups the frame rate to 120. Though. Yeah, but it ups the frame rate to 120 FPS, and it doesn't look impressive on the live stream because it's playing at 1080p and 30, and that's then downscaling and stuff.
But Demon's Souls looked impressive. This didn't, anyway. But
yeah.
I'm excited for that. Anyway, that's all I'm excited for.
Oddworld Soulstorm looks like it might be fun as well, and I've kind of forgotten that Oddworld does feel like a PlayStation title to me, kind of thing, like. From back in the original PlayStation days, it seems like they've kind of got a greater affinity between the two, and I kind of like that. And yeah, I liked the humor. I don't know, the gameplay looked unforgivingly brutal, but it could be fun.
I don't know if they have the patience for Oddworld these days, so we'll have to.
That is true as well.
No,
we'll see.
I don't.
I've still got the remake of the first game, and I keep.
I mean to play that at some point.
Yeah, I've heard the best thing about that is that there's like a quick save and a quick reload that you can do on like the touchpad or something.
Oh, okay.
Apparently that alleviates a lot of the issue.
The one thing I still remember how bitterly disappointed when I got to that bit in the game where it was like, you didn't save enough. Was it Mudcon, and wherever it was, you didn't save enough.
That's the one.
Mudcons, and
Mudflaps.
Yeah. Now you have to go back and save more of them. You can't continue in the game. I was like, what? I'd never had a game do that to me before. Like, what do you mean you're gatekeeping the rest?
Tim, you don't have enough milkshakes.
I wasn't good enough.
You haven't brought enough boys to the yard.
But yeah. But yeah, overall, as I kind of alluded to at the top, I thought this was a really, oddly stunted presentation. It felt like, and I don't know if this was the case, but it felt like it was slightly rushed out post Xbox coming out and releasing details, and before Xbox had a chance to do their pre-orders. Because it was only a month, maybe 2 months ago. Sony were like, "Don't worry, you'll have plenty of time to do your pre-orders. It'll all be fine. It's not a problem." And their long laid out plan after that was, well, you can pre-order at some point tomorrow. We won't say when, We won't bother
Game will let
specifying
you
anything
pre-order
like
at
a
midnight,
time.
while Curry's will let you pre-order at 4 in the morning. And
Well, Amazon will release the non-digital version of this time, and then the digital version separately afterwards. And you're like, what the hell? Where was everything going on? And yeah, like that was bad here. It was apparently bad in the States as well. So it's not like, we just got the bum end of the deal there. Like, it does seem to be like something they rushed out without the plan that they told us they were going to have in place. Like, and it does seem like they may have done that specifically so they could get out in this in-between periods between Xbox announcing their price and Xbox opening their pre-orders.
So without
really
getting into...
feel they should have delayed this to next year.
Yeah, I think they should have delayed the console. But yeah, Tim, without getting too much into things that I don't think I can talk about from having worked at games companies, the thing I will say is it's very likely Sony have been working on it for quite a while. And so it's one of the things that I was going to say last week was that I don't think Sony would necessarily be rushing because they'd already been in the process of doing this for several months. A lot of those trailers would have been hard locked a few weeks ago, like that Spider-Man one. The fact it had Holiday 2020 at the end, I think that wasn't so much a case of them sort of teasing. I think that was more a case of the trailer was all locked weeks ago.
Yeah, and they were just sort of
getting some last stuff prepped around. Yeah. So, and then when it comes to the pre-order stuff, I think that's more down to the retailers.
On the video, they could have stuck something on top of it. That is not impossible. It's very easy.
Yeah, they didn't have to put the date. They could have just at the end, because one thing that Nintendo does with the directs is with some of them, they sort of go, okay, here's the calendar for everything else. Here's what month all these games are coming out. And they have a nice tidy image, and that's something that Sony could have just done at the end of the presentation.
They could have had a splash screen with "These are your launch title games," spelling it out.
That's all they needed to do.
Literally, I don't understand why they didn't. Basically,
because I don't know what's a launch title. I know Spider-Man is. I'm guessing Call of Duty might be, and that's all I know. I don't even know if Yakuza Like a Dragon is a launch title or not. They haven't actually confirmed that.
No, we can.
I want to know.
all we know from this stream is there are some games that are definitely not launch titles now, basically. Resident Evil 8 is definitely not a launch title. We were aware that Deathloop is not a launch title, but we now know that for sure.
We know that God of
Fortnite's a
War
launch
Ragnarok
title.
is
Work.
not a launch title.
Yeah.
God, how beautiful did Resident Evil 8 look, though, in terms of graphics and stuff? That game looked phenomenal.
I still need to play 7, so I haven't got that excited about 8 yet.
Tim's not allowed to talk about Resident Evil anymore until he finishes 7. Starts it.
I've only ever played 4 and 5, so...
But I want to play it all in VR, and anyway. We'll come back to that.
We'll Twitch stream that for you, Tim, yeah? That'll be what is it? Child's Play.
Remember, I don't know.
Why not?
Do you see me at the same time? But Coleman saw my reaction to the kitchen, and I don't think me streaming that is the thing that the internet wants to see, because they want to see people that overreact to things, not underreact to them. But,
I think it's what the internet needs to see, Tim.
What? They're just going, look, that's scary, I suppose.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that was supposed to scare me. All right, okay. Oh, that was a jump scare.
Sarcastic gamer.
That really scared me.
Sarcastic Twitcher. Yeah. They're on your channel right now.
I'm not saying I'm unshakable, but at the same time, horror games don't really make me that scared. That's why. But anyway.
Yeah. I mean, there were some really good games being shown. I think it was just God of War was very predictable. You knew that they were going to do Ragnarok. I think it being delayed was not a surprise. Yeah, that was kind of that was a big letdown. Was we've got one last tease for you, and then it was a black screen with some voiceover.
A name of a game we knew we were going to make.
It's a name. Quick, everyone knew. Are they not? I know that again. They're sort of relying on the PlayStation 4 to sort of bolster the library a bit. With up-reses of The Last of Us 2 and stuff like that, but they couldn't have even said you can do this on launch day.
Yeah.
Here's a massive library. Because also with the digital version, have they actually said you can download PlayStation 4 games onto the 5, or are they just relying on the fact that there's a blue?
They said nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. We know nothing.
This this was my complaint with the first stream, was they didn't say anything about the backwards compatibility, anything about the PSVR being usable, any of this stuff. We just got to go with old information from other companies,
And I swear
we have to rely on at the moment.
And I don't know, but I swear there was games that, there's one game that is definitely there on your console day one that they should have mentioned in this stream and should have talked about that. The Playroom thing. I can't remember.
Playroom, yeah.
Is it Playroom? I'm not sure it is.
Yeah, Playroom.
It's that kind of equivalent. It's an Astrobot.
GTA Online.
Yeah, but okay.
Oh, GTA 5. Can't wait for that. Never played that before. Twice.
No, just online. Not
Just online.
Not 5. You have to buy 5.
Yeah.
Online you get for PlayStation Plus.
Yeah, but all right, they could have just at least mentioned that game's there, and as I said, as part of the launch lineup, saying that's preloaded on every console. They didn't mention that in the whole stream. I know they have mentioned that before, but there's going to be people that were tuning into this that hadn't tuned into the previous events and stuff like that, and I don't quite understand.
Why repeat some information and not others?
Yeah, and then what about the Sackboy game? They had screenshots of that, but they didn't mention.
Coming to PlayStation 4?
Again, I assume that is a launch title, but we don't know anything about it because they didn't tell us about it. And it just seemed like a bit of a this should have been a little bit better than it was, basically.
And I feel that for all three. If it wasn't for the fact that they gave us the PlayStation 5 launch date and prices, this would have been a very meh stream.
Yeah.
Much like the 3 very meh kind of streams this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have skipped it had I not been guaranteed that they were going to give a price and a launch thing. So...
Yeah, but I just think they had an opportunity to do more than they did with knowing that it had an audience for those 2 bits of facts. I think they could have easily stretched this out to an hour, or up to an hour, and included 20 minutes more information on just games, and just, kind of really got into the minutiae of these games are at launch, these games are launch window, these games are 2021. You know what I mean? Just break that all down for everyone so everyone knows what's going on a bit. And I don't know, but them almost evasively avoiding doing that seems like they know they have something to hide in that regard. And I don't know about you, they'd mentioned Gran Turismo. I was really hoping we'd see some Gran Turismo in there. Why are they not even mentioning that game exists at the moment? That really worries me that is nowhere even in the early part of the launch.
Because you need to see a trailer for Final Fantasy 16, a game that's not coming out for 2 years.
I'm assuming.
PC.
Well, I'm assuming they wanted to boast about Final Fantasy 16 being a console exclusive. Also, in the case of why they're repeating some games on this stream that they showed on the other one, is cases of when they showed off Gran Turismo, we got the reveal, we got gameplay, we got a look at this new mode that's all in menus, which Tim's going to love. Then in other cases, things like Resident Evil, we got a reveal trailer of Resident Evil or teaser trailer, and then this time we got the gameplay trailer, that kind of stuff. So,
but I still don't.
It's just
take 5 minutes to a montage.
I would have rather they kept that kind of stuff separate trailers and then gave us new stuff to look at. If all the negativity attached to the Harry Potter license wasn't there, then that would have been a big thing to show off.
Yeah, and it's a shame that kind
Spider-Man.
Fell flat. I don't really care about Final Fantasy, so that fell a bit flat with me as well. Devil May Cry, as I said, was just nah. And then don't really care about Five Nights at Freddy's. Don't really care about Fortnite. So there was literally half of that stuff that I was just oh, all right then, no.
Yeah. Although, should say Fortnite running on Unreal 4. It does look very nice. Just never going to play
I skipped that part. I watched it all on delay so I could skip bits that I knew I wasn't going to pay any attention to.
Fair enough. Right, we have gone a little bit over already, and we didn't even get to the games what we did played, which is a shame because that means, once again, I can't talk about The Last Campfire.
Oh, no.
Although I did play it this time, and it is very good, and you should all go play it, but I'll talk about that next week.
And Tim has to talk about Doodle Derby multiplayer.
Again.
To be fair, it's fairly quick, so I can rattle through it fairly quickly, hopefully. But yeah, I talked about Doodle Derby last week. Doodle Derby, yes. And yeah,
this is not quick.
I played the single player last week, so I'll leave that to last week. But as I said, it was already worth the price of entry then. The multiplayer has added to that. I've only played it 2-player, and you can do pretty much as I described last week in multiplayer. So you're kind of both like building bits and then racing across a course, a kind of assault coursey puzzle platformer type thing that you can solve together. And yeah, it's kind of competitive still, because like if one of you dies, the other one continues, and kind of that sort of nature. But you can combine what you're building. You can also mess up the other person a bit, so you can choose whether you're being nice or not. But it's a bit of a random kind of hodgepodge of what you get in terms of what's available in shops and what you pick up from packages and stuff. But yeah, generally that works okay. The thing that I think was even more fun and would be even more fun with more people is the slightly different mode they had, where it's just kind of tanks, and you've just got a tank and you can change the angle of the gun and that shoots in a direction, and the ammunition you fire is limited and tends to destroy the kind of most of the architecture of the level. So if you fire you can't fire beneath you, but if you fired like straight up and there was nothing above you, your missile would go all the way up and then come all the way back down. And if you didn't move out of the way, it would hit you. But if you moved out of the way, it would hit the platform below you and blow that up, and that might kill yourself. And there's lots of really comic ways to die in it, basically. And you're kind of zooming around with your tank. You can still like do the little jumps that you do to get between platforms. And yeah, it just becomes like a crazy kind of back and forth of, oh my god, I'm gonna die. Oh no, I killed you. Okay. And yeah, like it's really hectic and really silly and fun. And I think it would be even better with 4 players, basically. So yeah, that's definitely even more worth the £5.27 it currently is until the 24th, I think it is, because it's the day before my birthday. But yeah, like that's definitely worth picking up. I played it on the Switch, and I think it is a good fit for that. At that price, you will almost definitely get your money's worth out of that game, basically. That is Doodle Derby. Doodle Derby on the Switch and other
for Nintendo Switch and
Steam.
I believe it's Steam and maybe a console or something. But anyway, Also, Coleman, do you remember Inertial Drift?
Not off the top of my head.
It was one that we played at EGX. I think we played it on the Switch at the time, possibly. It may have been on the PS4, I'm not sure. But
vaguely.
Okay. It's a kind of cel-shady looking driving game. Yeah, and I kind of really like the art style. It's like a nicely done cel-shaded kind of look to it. But then the thing that's fairly unique about it is that it has a really interesting drift mechanic. And you use the right analog stick to actually control the angle of drift that you're going into a corner in, basically. So you're still cornering with the left stick, still driving around, you still got brake and accelerate, but the right stick is used to angle your car as you're going into corners. And yeah, like it's one of those things where it's like, this is a good idea. How has no one already made this before, or no one made this to like this kind of standard before? And yeah, and I was really interested when I played the demo at EGX, and so much so that I possibly could have reached out to the devs for a review copy of this, but I was like, no, I'm going to purchase this for myself. Was really umming and ahhing whether to get it on PS4 or Switch, because I think it'd be a reasonable fit for the Switch. But as it's got multiplayer, and as I've got more good working pads on my PS4 than anything else, I kind of went with the PS4 version. But I think graphically and just gameplay wise, it could be a nice one for the Switch generally. But yeah, I really recommend it. It's a little arcadey racer, and so you probably have to be into your arcade racers to kind of go with it. It's definitely not sim. But yeah, each car controls quite differently, to the point of some of them actually being quite hard to actually drive. But yeah, like I kind of, there's a story mode where you're going through, and like it seems a bit superfluous at first, but it does give it a bit of kind of life to it. There's something that really reminds me about a couple of games from it as well. It reminds me of like a good Need for Speed in terms of like there's something about the aesthetic and the kind of attitude and stuff like that, but it doesn't really play like that from a gameplay perspective. It does kind of remind me of some of the Burnouts. Wasn't there a Burnout where you could like literally like check like other cars left and right, like, and I'm not sure if it had a button.
Burnout Revenge.
Yeah, I think it was one of the Burnouts that had a revenge, and it does remind me of that to some extent as well, basically. But yeah, like it's all like it feels a bit reductive to say it's a unique driving mechanic, but it is something that is different and works really well and works quite nicely. The one thing I'll say that I was a little disappointed with it, it's got like I think half a dozen or so tracks, maybe 7 or 8, and like they're quite different and fun and they're okay. One of the tracks is quite long and kind of it gives you a bit more. But like, yeah, that type of things is okay. But the one thing I thought was a bit weird is like the different kind of options it gives you is like time trials, ghost battles, and races mainly. And because there's a MacGuffin reason that they say why this is the case in the game. There's I can't remember, some system that allows cars to not hit each other and not interact with each other on the road, basically. But it's very much a one-liner MacGuffin of this is why this is the way in the universe type thing. I'm glad that they mentioned it, but at the same time, yeah, like it's a bit, I don't know, it's a bit weird. But like it's weird when you're going from a ghost battle to then going to a race, because the race isn't that dissimilar from the ghost battle, because you're essentially just racing another car that you can't actually interact with. And especially in multiplayer, I actually think that the being able to flick your car out and kind of flick it around a corner and having that ability to do that would have been fun to have the player interaction with another player on that and being able to like quickly hit into them and stuff, basically. But yeah, like other than that, like it's an interesting. I think it's. I did purchase it myself. I think it's around the £15 mark or so. And yeah, there's a few different like ways you can play through the game with different cars, and it gives you a different person, so it gives you a slightly different version of the story and stuff. But yeah, like if you can like find a demo or just have a go on it somewhere, it's really worth playing just to see the kind of how that drifting mechanic works. It does seem to be going down really well with other people. Like I think on Steam at the moment it's like 9 out of 10. And yeah, like it's just, really interesting. To describe the look as a kind of 90s retro future, I think they mentioned somewhere at some point. But yeah, like it's an interesting arcade game, definitely worth having a look at, especially if the drifting mechanic appeals to you. The other thing I'll say is there's drifting events where you actually get points for drifting, and those could have done with being a little bit tougher, and the races could do with being a bit easier, and I'd rather there were more of the drifting events, especially as it's all based on the drifting, than there are the general races and stuff. But yeah, as I said, it's worth having a look at, a little bit different, and yeah, a fun arcade racer worth looking for. So,
what's the name of that game again, Tim?
Inertial Drift.
Inertial Drift, and what consoles is that available on?
It's on Switch, PS4, and Xbox One, I believe. But yeah, as I said, I've been playing on PS4.
Sounds good. So
okay. So I'm looking forward to you talking about that next week when we've actually got time to do our what games we've done played. Let us know your opinions on, well, if you've played any of these games that Tim's been playing, then you can let us know. Or if you want to talk about the Ubisoft Forward, the Nintendo Direct, or the PlayStation Showcase, I think they called it, PlayStation 5 Showcase. Yep. Do feel free to let us know on our Discord, Facebook, and Twitter. Just look for BigRedBarel, and on YouTube as well. I keep forgetting to plug the YouTube. Or go to BigRedBarel.com and talk to us in the comments section of this here show. A couple of people got in contact this week on Twitter. We've got SCO Tyrus, who said, what do you guys think about Spider-Man, Miles Morales, and Horizon Forbidden West actually being cross-gen games? I think it's good.
Yeah, I think I don't know why everyone got so upset about it. I'm like, that's a good thing for people that aren't getting a PS5, and great for you. I mean, I'm getting a PS5. That doesn't it doesn't undercut my reason for getting a PS5. I'll still want a PS5 in the future. I'll still kind of want one at launch. Like, they will look better on that console as well. I mean, like, that's fine. But other people being able to play games doesn't ruin my enjoyment of them. I've never understood the people that do. So, yeah, it's fine with me.
No, exactly. It's just more people to be disappointed by Horizon Forbidden West. Spiky Chris, I know you're there. I know you can hear me. You can't cancel me. I could say whatever I want about that series and no one could legally stop me.
Just because it doesn't have, in your opinion, a perfect story does not undercut it being
It doesn't have a story, Tim.
Okay.
If it had a story, I'd be more inclined to be charitable towards it.
Destiny doesn't have a story, and it's Dan's first and second favourite game of all time. So, not everyone has to have a story.
No, but
I keep trying it and then falling off it. That was one of my most. I was so excited
if it had a story, Chris would be more inclined to play it, I think.
Look, I can't talk. I didn't finish it either, so hey. And still haven't played the Frozen
Exactly my point. If it had a good story, you'd want to finish it and see where the story went.
To be fair,
no story,
I really did want to finish it and see where the story went. I just didn't. So I didn't want it.
Oh, I wonder what the big twist is. I wonder if it's the thing they telegraphed in the opening
all right, stop it.
I've already had that spoiled.
In this time where the PlayStation 5 looks like it's in short supply, and also, coronavirus and stuff have led to many people either not having jobs or not having as much disposable income as they normally would for a console release, it's good that the games are cross-generation as well. So there you go.
Yes, that's a good point.
Over on our Discord, which if you haven't joined, you really should do so because it's a lovely place to go and hang out. RRUK Tendo Pete, why did he change? He said, question for the podcast. With the recent announcement that more PS games are coming to PC, do you feel that most PlayStation 5 exclusives will be getting PC versions? Does that potentially stop you from getting a PS5 when you could get a PC version?
Well, judging from how disastrous the PC port was of Horizon Zero Dawn, no, I'll just wait till they're on PlayStation.
So with the PC stuff, I believe PlayStation have initially come out to say, hey, we're not doing what Xbox are doing. We're not doing day and date releases on PC and PlayStation at the same time. It's more we're going through our back catalogue and bringing out these higher res ports so the technology is improved and all that kind of stuff. I like the idea. I would be fine if they went day and date with PC as well. I've got absolutely no problem with that. And more people are playing the game. That's a good thing,
Yeah. As I said, yeah.
Tim,
not a bad thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree.
And lastly, Skydark has said, I have a question. The Sega Mega Drive turned 30 this week, so what are your favourite game or happy memories from this system? Comic Zone. I love Comic Zone. It's my favourite Mega Drive game. It came with a CD of the soundtrack made by a fictional band called Roadkill, and I used to listen to that all the flipping time as well. I love Comic Zone.
I only ever played Comic Zone after the fact. I never actually had it with my old Mega Drive. And yeah, my defining memory for, well, it was actually a Sega Genesis that I owned rather than a Mega Drive, but my defining memory for that was getting in a shed load of trouble. And I said shed deliberately for Coleman there. But shed load of trouble for swapping in my Game Boy, which I'd been bought as a Christmas present in a previous year, and all my games, and swapping in for a Sega Genesis and 2 games. And yeah.
Wow.
Parents were not happy with that decision of mine. So yeah. Yeah. But
NBA Jam was Tournament Edition as well, a lot of that.
Ooh.
Yeah. Was Streets of Rage Mega Drive or was that Genesis?
Yes.
I can never tell.
Yeah.
Then I'll say Streets of Rage.
Although I played...
They're the same console.
Yeah, although I played more of that...
Streets of Rage.
Yeah, I played more of that on the Game Gear. I think they had a collection of all 3 games, or I just had all 3 games on the Game Gear. Or the first 2. I think it was 1 and 2 maybe on the Game Gear, but yeah.
I just remember a point where before getting my Mega Drive, I still had my Master System, any one of my friends that had a Mega Drive, they all had Streets of Rage, they all had Sonic, So those are the 2 main games that I used to play before I got my own system.
Yeah, I remember playing Sonic while standing in a Tandy's as well. That's my other memories of
Tandies?
Yeah, Mega Drive. Yeah, that's how far back we're going. Standing in a Tandies that was between my house and my school at the time, and just playing Sonic. And I remember walking in, holding down the right button, and just like tapping like the jump button about 3 times, completing a level, and went, "Well, that's crap." And then walking off.
Right. I have a very quick question, but it's more for the audience for the Discord. With Final Fantasy 16 being announced and being a trip back to the old fantasy rather than sci-fi fantasy, and with Final Fantasy 7 coming out earlier this year and sending gangbusters, which old Final Fantasy would you like to see be remade Final Fantasy 7 style, and why is it Final Fantasy 9 the best one?
7, because it's the only one I've really played.
7 as a full game instead of releasing it episodically.
7 with the golden saucer, because that's the only bit I really care about.
All right.
So
well,
even though I like the new direction, the new they do the big change to the story, which I won't spoil on the show, but I really wish I just got the original game as a remake. I would have really liked that. So.
Also,
right,
can I just? I have to sneak something else in as well, because we got a correction from last week as well. So
good.
What did I get wrong?
Ian Alexander Crane has been in contact with us to let us know that our information about Australia is somewhat out of date. Basically.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I said in defense of AU, capped data plans was probably maybe 5 years ago and beyond. In 2020, I have an unlimited broadband plan for $79 AU a month, and is easily easy enough to download Avengers and auto update consoles. And they also get some streaming services included with that as well. So he's got Disney Plus included with that.
Well,
if I ever get arrested and sent there, I'll find out for myself.
I based my knowledge off of 3 different 3 different podcasts based in Australia. So I don't know if it changes in regions, much like in the US. But
he does say that what we were talking about is somewhat still relevant, but more to regional or inner city areas, with a sweet spot being in the upper middle suburbs. I didn't know there was an upper middle suburbs, but there we go.
I don't know.
But like he said, the one thing that they really do get raked over the coals for is the price of the console still, which... Yeah, that's the one thing they do overpay for. So there you go. Just updating our Australian information. So there you go.
Stroof.
I believe it's called probation.
I was waiting for you to say that also, because they've already stolen some of the money to go towards it, or...
I've already made 3 jokes about Australia. I actually have Australian relatives. That doesn't, absolve me. I just want to apologise to the nation of Australia, but not to Spike and Chris.
Do you really, though?
I mean, you legally can't tell whether I'm serious or not. So.
We have to go, guys.
Yeah.
We'll find out when I'm cancelled.
If you've enjoyed this show, God help you. We've let you know how you can get in contact. But if you could be so kind and leave us a podcast review, that would be great. You can do so on Apple Podcasts, Castbox, Podchaser, or Stitcher. Any of those would be cracking. Love a 5 stars. Not sure we deserve it, but cracking. Love it. We're going to get played out this week with a special tune.
Oh, I can't believe we didn't talk about this. This must
can I very
released.
quickly say the conspiracy theory? Yeah, it was deliberately bad.
Conspiracy theory.
It's deliberately bad so that we did this. So we played it at the end of our show.
But also, because for Watch Dogs Legion, they said that Stormzy was so excited to get a phone call about being in a video game and to do some video game stuff, and it was the thing he was most excited for. My personal theory is he was actually waiting for a call about this song and the confirmation that he'd get to record it, and his agent got very confused and put him up to the wrong gig, and now he's having to try and save face by pretending he wanted to be in Watch Dogs.
Yeah.
Chris, play the song. Play us out.
I've got to finish. Anyway, this is so we're going to get played out with a song called "So Many Games," which is used for a. It's like a little mock song Xbox have put together to advertise Game Pass.
By Stormzy.
Awful. It'll be running in the background right now.
Don't say that, we'll get sued.
Anyway, so now you know why we're playing an atrocious song on the way out. This has been episode 407 of BRB UK. I have been Coleman.
I might have been Tim.
And I was definitely Ed, but this might be the last time.
Spiky Chris has his way. You're off. And until next time,
and the nation of Australia.
Till next time, dear listeners, a goodbye.
So many games, all on your phone. So many games, get in the zone. So many games, on your tablet. So many games, you gotta have it. So many games, on your Android. So many games, oh boy, so many games, for now and later. So many games, cloud gaming beta, which is available today with the Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. Yeah, it's available today with the Xbox Game Pass Ultimate.
You and your ears are quite welcome for the podcasting goodness that you just heard. Why not roll on over to BigRedBarel.com for more podcasts, news, reviews, and videos from the biggest, reddest site on the internet, BigRedBarel.com.
900s, and I fall flat on my ass every time.
Can you do a dark slide?
You can. I think you can do it.
Can you lick it?
You can do
Can you
dark
bop
slide.
it?
Are you just look? Are you going to now start saying bop it, twist it, pull it?
Yeah, I was immediately about to do that.